Welcome, OG After Dark 2 Joe's 1 Cup coverage from Lenovo Center continues. Ears a little loud there, Joe?
A little. We're coming in hot.
I mean, like a fajita?
Coming in hot like the Devils in the first period of this playoff game. I'm pretty sure when the schedule was announced, I told you people, the building might be a little sleepy. Canes are going to win game one, feel really good, come in first period. Devils are going to have a little bee in their bonnet. They did. It's 1-0. 2P Canes, man. 2P Canes. That's that go-to slump buster right now if you're gambling on hockey.
Yeah, it's funny. I jotted down. Crowd was great for 6 o'clock on a random-ass Tuesday.
It was actually way better at the start of the game than I thought it was going to be, but obviously still not noticeably full, obviously. Like, you can't work a miracle.
You're not going to work miracles here. Not even Bill Belichick could show up on time, and he has a police escort for him. Well, I mean, I'm assuming he has a police escort, but I can neither confirm nor deny that. But no, look, I know that ESPN had a triple header today. Shout out to the chirp line. Maybe I'll call the chirp line to complain about sticking the Canes at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday as part of your triple header. And I made a joke that, hey, man, if the NHL is trying to prove some sort of point with this area being a hockey market with a 3 o'clock Sunday Easter game and then a 6 o'clock Tuesday game, well, I never want to hear anything about a real hockey market ever again because, folks, the crowd was good tonight. To your point, were there some empties at the beginning? But this crowd, I thought, was hyped up, ready to go for 6 o'clock. But I thought the Devils did a good job. To your point, you knew they were going to have a little something. Maybe the ice was a little sloppy. I don't know. Canes a little thrown off. But they ended the period, and they trailed early. What was that? The Hala rebound by who ended up scoring that goal in the first period?
No, that was Bat. That was Brat.
It was Brat who
Hala created the goal.
Hala created the goal.
Yeah.
Brat buried it, right? Of course, it's going to start with something Hala doing. But I thought the end of the period carried over into the start of the second period, and that's when your 2P Canes came through.
Yeah, it was noticeable that the Devils were not comatose, even though they were missing, 2 more defensemen now?
Yeah.
In Luke Hughes and Brendan Dillon, both hurt in game one. Neither played in this game. So, extremely shorthanded New Jersey team. I thought really responded and played and carried the play in the first period. Again, when you kind of close your eyes or switch uniforms or do whatever you want to do, they play like the Canes. That's how they want to play. And they carried the play in the first period. I thought they were the better team. You know, the Canes were sluggish, but not like terrible. It was just the other team was just a little bit better than they were and playing a style that it was like, oh, wait a second, I recognize that. And then you get to the second period and look at that.
Yeah.
You know, they're buzzing. Goss Despair, he scored on a similar goal to what Brad had scored on in the first period for New Jersey. I thought both goalies were really, 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 really good in this game. Markstrom had one of those saves. Turns out he was helped by Brett Pesce.
Oh, Brett Pesce made this game close in the second period because the Canes should have been up 3-1, 4-1 if you think about it.
At least 2-1. And then you get the Martinook shorthanded goal.
Shorties count?
Shorties definitely count in hockey.
Shorties count in that situation.
I'd like to point out that Jordan Stahl with the faceoff win I thought was important on that. And then Orlov, you know, if I was Luke tonight writing a column, my lead would be, my lead's probably Jordan Martinook, who in the third period also had a block shot that I thought was outstanding. But my lead might be, you know, the Canes paid Dmitry Orlov $7.75 million a year. He finally earned a portion of that on Tuesday night in game 2 as the Canes beat the Devils 3-1. I thought Orlov was really good. He was an instigator. Again, the goal that Martinook scored on the shorthanded was the breakout pass by him.
Yeah.
I thought he played well. And I thought particularly in the second period, he played well, had a little bit of that muscle, a little bit of that toughness, bringing a little bit of the fight to the Devils as well. So the way that he played was encouraging. You know, the Canes are always going to ham and egg this thing, man. You know, you got Martinook on an unbelievable goal in the short end, on a shorty. You've got, you know, Ghost scoring on a swarm. You've got, you know, Freddie, while I thought was outshone by Markstrom, I thought Freddie was still pretty good.
I thought Freddie's third period was outstanding. He gave them exactly what they need. I think the Meyer save was the one that kind of changed things up.
You remember Timo Meyer?
Yeah.
For a hot minute, he was out at San Jose, and it was, you know who we really need?
We need Timo Meyer.
Let's trade. I want you to take a second here and remember.
Yeah.
Should we trade Seth Jarvis for Timo Meyer?
No, absolutely freaking not.
Timo Meyer had like 38 chances to score in the third period of this game. He was doing his best Marty Nature's playoff impersonation.
It was
while I'm shitting on every former and current game.
No, I would say that some of those shots from Meyer, Freddie got.
Yes, he did.
Freddie absolutely stood up. But about that Marty party though thing, one thing that we glossed over in the first period, and I jotted down because I thought it was important to kind of like crystallize the point that I was making about sluggish start, but they close out the first period the way you wanted to. Martinook's out here selling his body out. And so
the block shot on the third period on a Jersey power play.
But it started, that was huge. But I'm talking about there was a moment when they were trailing 0-1 where he's diving for the puck and, the dexterity while he's diving to get it over to Jordan Stahl. I'm pretty sure that the roof on this building would have been ripped off if they actually cashed that thing in. And they had a pretty clean look at it. To your point, Markstrom was good, but Markstrom was also like an ass today. I don't even know. What did Andrei Svechnikov do to Markstrom? Because this is 2 games in a row.
I was going to say he's Swedish, not Finnish. So I don't know why the Russian on Swede crime is happening there. But.
Not really, because in game 1, he tried to slash him, and then he ends up taking out his own player in that situation. And then after Svechnikov goes nuts to the post, split, he's trying to get up, and Markstrom decides, no, I'm going to shove you, and then I'm going to slash you. And the ref's right there. And they just, I guess no blood, no foul. So they're just going to let that thing go. So I'd love to know the story there. Like, Mr. Steal your girl? I mean, I know people were thirsty about that.
Josh Hamilton's kid that
I don't even know. I have no idea. All I know is that my timeline was thirsty when there was a shot of Svechnikov with the jersey up showing off the abs. It was like Abercrombie, man. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I thought all those things showed you that the Canes are pushing their pace on the Devils, and it's just too much. And I think, looking forward, we'll talk to Mike Maniscalco of FanDuel and Luke Takaka, the News and Observer, in a little bit. But I do think that this is headed towards them at least splitting in New Jersey. We shall see. Let's go to the YouTube comments, shall we?
People are you can give them the other one first if you want.
We'll go through this. Someone check on PK Subban. I guess we're going to do that every day. Mike wants to also know if he's going to call the OG Sports Fund. I think he's contractually obligated to promote the chirp line, as we found out. Let's see. From Kevin, I agree. Like, why do people care what ESPN says? They stink at NHL coverage. Because it's the worldwide leader, man. It is what it is. Ken with the double whammy, wondering if I'm going to call the ESPN chirp line. That would be funny. Yeah, maybe. It's not like I haven't called ESPN radio before. I have done it. I mean, I still have
the ACC network.
I still have the producer line on my phone. Like, I can bat signal that thing. Also, Ken pointing out that I've got the golf polo with the blazer. Yes, folks, I said I was going to wear the Rowback today.
Yeah, I was going to say not just the polo.
Not just the polo. Absolutely. Mike Maniscalco getting ready to sit down with us right now. Done with FanDuel. Mike, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
All right, Mike is on. Mike is here.
Turn the fucking mic on.
Yeah,
Mike is on.
Mike is on. Mike Maniscalco's here.
I'm on.
We gave our thoughts, your initial thoughts. Also, by the way, real quick, with this microphone, it's the hottest mic in the world, and the shaky will get picked up. I'm just letting you know.
Then I will be.
Hey, just in case you've never.
Just in case this might be your first time with a microphone. Just saying, might be your first rodeo. This ain't Buffalo.
Look at
Mike.
this man. He's
this ain't college radio, buddy.
You clearly. I will put up 91.3 WBNY against Wolfpack,
WKC,
whatever you are. Yeah, any day of the week.
This is why Mike misses working with me.
Oh, you have no idea. No idea. This is why I do this. To remind myself why I'm so glad I don't do this regularly anymore.
F that guy, but might as well sit down with Ovius. Here we go. Anyway,
I do it for the Rowback.
Well, and you got a bottle coming your way too, so don't sweat it.
Oh, I'm excited about that too.
Thoughts?
I knew this game was going to be hard tonight, despite the fact that New Jersey was down 2 of their defensemen in Luke Hughes and Brendan Dillon, who are a big part of their D-core. They were going to play because every team gets this level of, we want to split. If you lose game 1, they get to a level of desperation. They got to it early. They knew that the puck was going to be dropped at 6 o'clock. Jordan Martinook kind of talked about it, that, the Canes were really not ready the way that they needed to be
Yeah.
for the first period. Not that they were outplayed,
They're
but the
creatures of
Devils,
habit, though.
but the Devils were ready to go.
Fair.
And especially getting that goal early. I thought that was going to be a key here tonight if New Jersey got in front of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the Canes, nobody wants to chase, but it takes Carolina really out of what they do. That second period, this team, second periods in this building, they are a monster. I mean, what they're able to do, how they just tilt the ice and they take advantage of, in the hockey term, the long change, because the forwards have the easier opportunity to get onto the ice and into the zone, and the D have to kind of chase to get into it. But this story for me, the penalty kill again was great. No surprise. Freddie Andersen has gone toe-to-toe with Jacob Markstrom. And even though Markstrom saw more volume in game one, tonight, Freddie Andersen was the difference for the Carolina Hurricanes when they needed him to be.
Yeah.
And again, the depth scoring for the Carolina Hurricanes, that you get another defenseman scoring a goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be a statue holding on to this mic too, Gilio, as you see
doing
this.
An amazing job, Mike.
But Shane Gostisbehere scoring a goal by following up and, making sure that he buries it. And then not only has the penalty kill been good, but you get the shorthanded goal from Jordan Martinook. This place just goes on fire. They almost had another shorthanded goal on that kill. And I said it on the air, so a cheap plug for those of you who didn't. We talked about all the renovations that are going to be going around Lenovo. They would have had to budget in for a roof because it would have been gone if they scored two shorthanded goals. And then, when they needed to lock it up, they found a way to do it.
And poor Wade Minter couldn't even complete the Aho penalty announcement.
That's
how
tough
quick
bounce.
that was, man.
It's a tough bounce.
That was a quick one on that.
But
so it's funny. We talked about Andersen, and sometimes we can galaxy brain this thing.
Sure.
Where it's like, look, I think based on game one, you feel pretty confident that you can win this series. So Joe and I talked about it. I know we talked about it with Luke a little bit on Sunday. And maybe you put Kochetkov in net tonight, because you kind of keep things as they've been going, every other night, keep that rotation going on. But it looks like Rod is going back to a similar tactic to last year, where Anderson's our guy. Let's ride this thing.
I can armchair quarterback this one because, hindsight's 2020 and give me everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Andersen was not taxed in game one with the amount of saves that he made, even though it's going to be I believe it's going to end up shots change. Like the Sabres had a game earlier this year against the Canes where they had 23 shots at the end of the second period, had no shots in the third, 0, and finished the game with 21 shots. So I don't really like to reference shots on goal anymore because they change, but it's going to be close to the same amount workload. But the workload tonight was a little bit heavier for Freddie Andersen. I think the way that he played in game one, and it wasn't super taxing, he really didn't see the shots until the third. You go back to him tonight. Now you open up the question of in New Jersey, because you're going to play 8:00 Friday, 3:00 Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see Pyotr Kochetkov play one of those two games? And I would say yes, for what my opinion is worth, which is zilch. But I would say, you will see Pyotr Kochetkov play one of those games. I think you'll see a couple of tweaks to the Canes lineup, honestly, in New Jersey, because they're going to want to get guys into the lineup. I think that you'll see Mark Jankowski back in the lineup, and maybe he takes Jack Roslovic's spot. Maybe he doesn't. But the way that this team is built, they want to keep guys in. And I think that you do have to be mindful of Freddie Andersen's history.
Yeah.
And you want to keep him as fresh as you possibly can. With the 2 days, though, in between.
I would go Freddie Friday, Peter on Sunday.
I would, but again, I'm to this point where I don't think there's a wrong decision if you're the Carolina Hurricanes in what you want to do with the goaltenders in New Jersey.
Orlov, maybe that money kicking in.
This is his time.
Some guys are better in the postseason.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
No, it really is. And for Dmitry Orlov, the playoffs get a little bit more physical. I think that's definitely a part of his game where he likes to get involved with it. I think he remembers what Eric Haula did to him back in December, running him into the boards and, creating that little melee afterwards. So, he comes into this series and he ain't going to take any crap off of nobody and want to play that. And he's got that game. But there are guys who, when it's playoff time, they're a different animal. And
number 17.
Yeah.
Even going back to St. Louis, he was always a different player in the postseason.
There really are those guys who, when you get to that point, But what I like about the Canes right now is it is the balance. Again,
oh, it's the ham and egg special, man.
But
It's the brother-in-law special.
But that's why, and maybe it's Taylor ham. So we're going up to Jersey for your home. But it's one of those things where I have the easiest job in the NHL because this team, they play when they're at their best. They play the same every night. It's what they want to do, and that's what they've done really in the first 2 games here against New Jersey. Do I expect New Jersey to have a push in one of those 2 games back home? Sure, it's the playoffs, and they're a good team. They're not 100%, but man, if the Canes keep playing like this is going to be. I don't know how much longer we're going to be talking about the Devils when we're talking postgame.
The thing is, and look, all credit in the world to the Devils. They, as your partner would say, dug deep in certain situations. I did see general manager Eric Tulsky appear on the 5th floor, and this was after the second period when Brett Pesce essentially saved 2 goals.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's haunting you, right? He's like, he's just joking around, right? But it's one of those things where it's funny when it's those kind of players that you're used to seeing make those plays for you. They're now doing it to you. I think Dougie was showing some fake toughness a little bit today. You mentioned Orlov. He's clearly something happened with Orlov that Orlov was not happy about. But I honestly thought that the way that the second period was so dominated by the Hurricanes, Pesce's the only reason why this didn't end up being a blowout.
No, big part of it. And look,
I mean, millimeters on that one that was reviewed, and then there was one moments later where he had a clean look at it. But again, millimeters on that one.
But then Brent Burns comes down and makes a play there. Look, the playoffs, it comes down to that. I mean, we've covered this for a long time, and I really hate when we go cliche. But there are guys, especially when you're playing your old team. There is a little bit of that. F you. I'm going to show you that I should have stayed here. Or, you made this mistake. And Brett Pesce is a hell of a hockey player. He's one of those guys. I put him on my team, every day of the week that ends in Y. But
we've talked about it.
But this is a league where you have to make monetary decisions, and then you have to look at what you have coming. And you can't sign everybody. For me, I'm trying to think. He's had some really good playoff games in a Canes uniform.
Mm-hmm.
He was outstanding tonight.
I thought he was great tonight.
I mean, he was outstanding tonight for New Jersey, especially there were 3 defensemen, and Dougie Hamilton was one of them. Mm-hmm. The other one was Brian Dumoulin, where they knew they were going to have to carry a hell of a lot of water for Sheldon Keefe's team.
There's only 4 of them at this point. They might ask us.
But again, what the Canes did, though, is they made it hard on them as the game went on. You're like, guess what? We're going to hit you. This quote unquote not physical Canes team, they hit people. They go after them. There were hits on these guys.
So it's funny. Joe and I were having a side conversation about that as the game was going on, about the whole gritty thing, or a little more grit, or a little bit more toughness. The whole
sandpaper. I mean, listen, we've had that conversation before. There's a time and a place for it. But no, I'm sitting here laughing because did you watch any of the HBO Showtime on the Lakers?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
I'll recite the Boston chant if you want me to.
It's really good, right? But there's some fictionalized part of it.
Exactly.
So let's get into the fan fiction portion of the After Dark today. Soon to be brought to you by Bloomin' Blinds. Okay, but that's next week. But listen, in 20 years or 30 years, however many we went, I want to rewrite the part where Tulsky and Tom and Tulsky have Rod in a room and are saying, okay, we're letting Pesce go. Wow, I love that guy. We're letting Shea go. All right, well, what are we doing? Nason, man, we're going to get rid of him. And then they probably tell him, we're not going to sign Martinook either. And then Rod just puts his foot down. I don't care what your Corsi says. We're signing. And then you fast forward.
Shove that database where the sun don't
You fast forward to that shot and that scene and then blocking the shot and playing the way that he did today. Like, I hate to be Neanderthal hockey guy, but sometimes some of this shit doesn't show up on your high danger nonsense and puck possession and all this other bullshit that you try to act like wins the Stanley Cup. It doesn't.
No.
Sacrificing the way that he did and quite frankly, scoring a goal maybe we didn't even know he was capable of scoring, right?
Oh, no,
they're playing a hell of a score.
They're playing the Devils, and he is Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
Right.
Against the New Jersey Devils. I mean, Jordan Martinook is hotter than the devil when he plays this team. And I don't know why, but look,
Peter Sikora used to be that way against the Canes.
Hey, John Druce for Caps fans who hate watching this right now. But I'm going to just drive this one point home to what you're saying, Joe. And this is going to be barbaric, but you got you got to put your balls out there, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
Because Svechnikov did.
Hockey goes to a different level in the playoffs where, I mean, blocking shots. And when you say Neanderthal, that's not like the Neanderthals, you got to fight. You know, they hit you got to fight. This is, I'm going to do whatever the hell it takes to win a game. I'm going to block a shot. I'm going to hit my best friend. I'm going to go up high. We're going to do stuff where, you know, I'm going to come across the ice and I'm going to dive, whatever it takes to stop a puck from going in, just whatever that comes into. And you have to have guys in every locker room in sport. I don't care what the hell we're playing. I don't give a crap what analytics says about him. It's the guy who brings the room together. And that's what Jordan Martinook does. He brings the room together.
I'm just glad they kept him.
No, and
You know?
look, I think he is the guy that, if it comes down to it, that Rod is the guy slamming the fist on the table saying there's no way that we're letting him go, not on my watch. You know, not if you can sign him to something that's reasonable.
Yeah. We've seen plenty of guys like that, like a Kevin Adams, you know, kind of through the years. You got to have those guys.
But you do not win playoff series without guys like that. You just don't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that that's why you win the Stanley Cup and you can go with this, but Jordan Staal, Jordan Martinook in the postseason are, since I've been doing play-by-play, you can count on them. You can set your watch to them that they're going to do something to help you win a game in the playoffs. I mean, go back. There's a play last year against the Rangers. Martinook, I think, dives at the blue line to keep a puck out of the net, you know, in a game where you're trying to get back into it. But it's, again, the strength for the Canes is the sum.
Let's
not
build the whole
parts.
plane out of it, baby.
It's not the parts. But tonight, it was really good to see that top line get on the score sheet. Jackson Blake get his first point. Sebastian Aho get an assist. Seth Jarvis get the empty net goal from Martinook.
Bold prediction: Svetch plays with them next game. That's my bold prediction.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't. My bold prediction is that Jankowski goes in the lineup and you would do the.
Okay.
It was not broken. Why would you fix it? But you don't have last change in New Jersey. Jankowski can bring you a couple more elements, winning faceoffs, winning draws, the way that he can play. Bigger body, because I think Jersey is going to throw. This is the Jersey will throw everything at you, and you got to weather the storm the first 10 minutes.
And there'll be penalties in the first period.
I think so.
They'll have chances on the power play. All those good things.
Yeah,
we already know this.
And you'll see that. But, I'll tell you, I love Stankoven on that line with Staal and Martinook. I really do. So,
yeah, they're going to tinker with it. All right. Before we say goodbye, we appreciate the time as always.
Sure.
I understand that goalies do not like net front presence. I understand that. You don't want people in front of you. Get out of my crease. No touch my guys, as Coach Eckhoff said one time. But is there something that Svechnikov did to Markstrom that I'm not aware of?
I think if you go back in game one.
Like, what am I missing?
In game one, I went back and watched it because I was really looking for it.
Because he wanted to slash him bad in game one. And then after he goes, like as I said earlier, you talked about putting your balls out there. I mean, balls to the post for Svechnikov. It's a little slow to get up. Markstrom's like, get the hell out. But like to a point where I'm wondering, okay, dude, what's happening here?
I think that there was a little after the whistle kind of tap on the hands. And goalies, you can talk about net front. Goalies go nuts when you slash them on top of their hand when they're freezing a puck or trying to make a play like that. And I think there was a little, if you go back, I think it happened in the first, like late in the first, Svech was around the front of the net. And it was one of those things. But I mean, I'm not trying to be a homer here. That happens, 8-9 times in a game where there's a scrum where somebody reaches and then you go from it. But I think that it's Andrei Svechnikov. Like
Mike would know
Markstrom
this.
looked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you would know this, Mike, on YouTube. Didn't Svech do the first lacrosse goal on Markstrom? Would you remember that?
That
was in Calgary.
Yeah, it was Calgary, but I don't know if it was Markstrom or Riddick.
We have to go back and
was
look.
In net. I got to go back and look, but it was Calgary.
I'd still be bitter if I would be bitter if I was on that highlight forever. I might be bitter about that.
He's done it. Done it a few more times.
That's when he took it personal, Mike.
Yeah, you know what? It's strictly business, and this guy took it very, very personally. We got newspaper men on the payroll, don't we? This is a good story.
We got a
very good story.
We got a Newark spot. What's the Mike Maniscalco jersey spot?
All right, there's actually a couple.
Okay,
gotta go to a Portuguese place.
Oh,
got to.
I would love to, but there is a deli a little bit across the street from Prudential Center called Hobbies. It is A+. And then there's, if we can get to it, there's a pizza joint in Jersey City, depending on the time, called Raza. Look it up. It's evidently like it wins awards and all of this stuff. So
I don't know. Like, do you get like a tingly feeling? You're a little jealous that Maniscalco is going to Jersey? That's not your neck of the woods, though, right?
Well, no, my sister worked in Newark forever. So that's what I'm saying. She's got a lot of Portuguese spots in Newark that she loves. There's a big Portuguese population there. So I'm sure you'll enjoy.
Look at Garrett coming through. Looked it up. It was Riddick.
Thank you.
So there you go.
Garrett,
Thank you.
Appreciate
hey, look at me.
Hey, look at you.
And Mike knew it.
Mike knew it. All right, man.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
again.
Thank you.
We'll
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. It's Gilio's birthday on Friday. Yeah, we got. Do we have a meeting right now?
No, let's have a meeting. Use the voice.
Let's have a meeting right now, live with Mike Maniscalco.
What's your availability on the road?
Well, we ride the bus after the game, but immediately after, I would imagine I could be free to call in if there's a call-in number. Or
we do have.
I could zoom in.
You get to StreamYard in. That's what you get to do.
I would StreamYard in.
We're not going to leave you to the OG Sports phone. Okay.
Oh, that would be funny.
Although it would be kind of funny.
It'd be so much better. Do you want me to just call in?
Like, I'll tell you. You have a 3-minute cap on the Google Voice.
Even
better. But you know what the real problem is? I don't have access to.
No, I mailed it to you. I can mail it to you.
Yeah, let's.
I can mail it to you.
Either way, we'll get it
done because I'll be in Asheville on Friday.
I will shoot you guys a text.
We'll make it work
as soon as I'm off the air, and we'll figure it out.
Thank you for the meeting.
All right, Mike. Later,
happy to be a part.
Luke DeCock's is going to come up. Yeah, see, I muted it. You can't do that anymore. It's not a lightsaber. All right. Do you know about the Will Brinson incident? That's why we're scarred by this.
Oh, God. Well, first, it's Will Brinson, so I'm sure that there was some kind of...
Elite 8, we're at the Rialto. Everybody's drunk.
Shocking.
I mean, Gilio is sloppy as hell. I went back and I watched.
I love it when he acts like I was
drunk.
Sober Sally over here.
No, I was drunk, but somebody had to push the buttons.
I teetotaled. I was the adult.
No.
I was the grown-up.
I was the grown-up, thank you, because somebody still had to maneuver all these things. But Brinson was so obliterated, and the mic was just whipping it around, and people were like, in the comments, we can't hear anything because all we hear is. But it was a legendary appearance, and then Gilio was so drunk he gave double birds to Duke. So these are things we can do now, Mike. It's a great time.
It happens.
I was just happy that I can say you got to play this game with balls.
A former media colleague of ours once got in trouble for drinking beer out in the parking lot after a series win. So we can do that now. Yeah. I don't have to worry about that. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, boys.
All the media war stories. Luke DeCock, News and Observer, is going to drop on by here in a little bit when Rod Brittamore is done talking to the media. Let me go through some of...
Oh, well,
yes.
I mean, the one thing people wanted, Joe, was Bill Belichick was here with Jordan Hudson.
Yes!
Looks like our good friend Doug Wharf ended up on the NHL account with Dollar Bill.
Yeah,
and
Doug,
his lady.
So it was funny. I was, we got word of where he was sitting in one of the suites, 128. So I got my super fancy iPhone 16 Pro to zoom in. Not bad on the zoom, a little blurry, but you could tell it's Bill and you could tell it's Jordan. I'm like, look at Doug.
Yeah, Doug looks good. Doug
always looks good. Man.
The other two look like they're going to a wedding, maybe even hers. I'm not sure, but
so it took Bill a while to come out, though. He was like, I guess he was like, let me see if I can pull up. I had put this out on social media. So let me go ahead and pull up the tweet that I had put out there. All right, so here we go. Let me stop the screen on this. I sound like Morgan Patrick here. Let me do this, and this. Some of you old heads will get that reference. But yeah, here's Bill. Zoom and enhance on my iPhone 16 Pro here. He was just kind of chilling in the corner. I guess he had like a receiving line. You talk about a wedding, right?
Yeah.
Clearly there was a receiving line to get Bill in here. So the question, at some point they were going to put Bill on the Jumbotron.
Yes.
So I understand that there are fans, Carolina fans, there's Duke fans, there's all sorts of stuff, right? But this is a predominantly state building, number one. There's also a lot of transplants here who have had
Steeler fans.
Bill Belichick stick it to their favorite NFL teams. You just mentioned one of them.
There's a lot of Bills fans.
There's a shit ton of Bills fans. Yeah. There's
frankly,
there's a shit ton of Steelers fans here. Obviously, you have the NC State contingent. Yeah, I get that there's Carolina fans here in the building, but you are severely outnumbered, not just by State fans, but by transplant NFL fans who are done with Bill. And this was their opportunity in the building to boo him. Our guy, Trayvon Miles over at ABC 11, had this video. So I'm going to pull this through. Were there some cheers? There were some, but he was booed vigorously.
Yeah.
Vigorously.
That's healthy. I like that.
And I'm pretty sure in real time, because I was too slow with my phone to get video, I'm pretty sure they went to that cash drop sooner than they anticipated because they didn't want to have Bill Belichick, linger on the boo. But he doesn't care. He's eating ice cream.
He was eating his ice cream. He's with his 24-year-old girlfriend. What does he care?
Yeah, if you're exactly
He's making $10 million. Come on.
If you're Bill,
come on.
If you're Bill, exactly. You got Jordan with you. You got your fresh suit. You're enjoying your ice cream. You're getting paid. All your buddies are on staff. Hey, boo me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Hey, boo me. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. I think it's one of those things that adds to the dynamics of the triangle. That's what makes this area unique.
Well, he must have thought this was Duke's building, that they were getting booed.
Well, as Luke pointed out, little Billy's always wanted to stick it to the Devils. Maybe that's why he wanted to show up to this game. In talking with our sources,
That's right, little Billy.
Little Billy always said that. Two roosters on the expense account.
They were eating 2 roosters. So at least I was happy about that.
Hey, look, shout out to Bill supporting the corporate champions, right?
You should too.
Yeah,
Just not at my location. Go to the one in Durham or Leadmine or Cary. Go to the one in Cary, April 23rd.
Okay.
That's tomorrow.
That's right. Because they got
Wednesday.
That's
Soccer stars.
We got soccer there,
including
we got
the
Church
genius
there.
Denise O'Sullivan.
But so anyway, the only other thing I would say about Belichick is that apparently there was some conversation about him sounding the siren.
My sources,
your sources,
say that he was asked and declined.
He declined.
Yeah, which is fine. He probably doesn't know anything about
No, here's my question: was it initially proposed as, "Hey, we'd like Jordan to sound the siren"? And they were like, well, no, we want you to sound the siren. And they said, well, I don't want to do it anymore.
That number, that detail, I don't know.
No,
I just know he was asked.
Now I need to ask questions. I got to ask questions. I got to ask my people at the Canes. Like, okay,
if only we knew.
So when Bill said no, did somebody say, hey, let's ask Jordan to see if she wants to do it?
Hey, by the way, you think it's a good sign when the Canes win game 1?
Yeah.
Just so you know, they're now 11-0 after winning game 1 and game 2. Probably why they win so many series after winning game 1. That's wild. That goes back to 2006.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of Rod's teams that have won game 1 have won game 2 when they win game 1. So, and they've won 6 of those 7 series. So,
all right. To the let's see. To the YouTube comments we got from B Grace. Great dig deep win. Needed the 3 Fs: Freddie, forechecking, and fortune. Puck luck. There was a little bit of puck luck tonight. Got it done.
Yeah,
out of the barn.
I thought, second period really was that forecheck, really was the control, the puck possession, and really just kind of swarming. You think about it, was a really good goal by Martinook on the shorthanded shot. But Goss Spares, which came first, that was just a classic grind them out kind of goal, and they're pressuring Markstrom. I thought Markstrom was really good though. Both goalies were very good in this game. If there's one thing, if you're New Jersey that you look at, you go, well, we essentially you lose 2-1, right? Because an empty net goal. You go, we gave up 2 goals. One of them was on a rebound, and one of them was an unbelievable shot.
Yeah.
So you tell Markstrom, you play like that in New Jersey on Friday night, we can actually win the game, even with our defensive shortcomings. That's kind of how it works for the Canes. You know what I mean? Like the way that they played on Sunday.
Yeah.
Still a competitive game. Like New Jersey, in theory, in the third period of that game, could have put themselves back in the game. It's interesting too how the crowd has adjusted for the Hurricanes. The third period of this game, it was only 2-1, but it actually felt like the Canes were up by more.
Oh, that's yeah.
You know what I mean?
Getting back to the part of the conversation with Maniscalco. this game gets completely flipped if Pesci does not get to that puck when he got to that puck. And they go to the review. And it was, look, I mean, we saw it here on the screens and on the Tron. That was the right call. It was not a goal. It never cleared. I mean, it was millimeters, but it never cleared. I think the game gets out of hand at that point because that's a back-breaking goal in that situation. When we talked about it with Mike, it's one thing to get one shorthanded goal, to get another one, again, back-breaking situation in that. So I'm with you. And the thing that, getting back into the whole nitpicking part of it, the one thing that would concern me is what you just said, is that the Canes oftentimes have these dominating periods, or they it's the classic Rob Brind'Amour. They lost, but I like the way that we played, because there's this confidence that eventually it's all going to work itself out. But you can do that. You can do that when it's the regular season, because you can always go to the next game. You only have so many of these in the postseason. So I'm not so cavalier about these things.
That's why I think Rod will switch up that first line. I know Jackson Blake drew a penalty in the third period, which was useful, but I think they kind of got to get Jarvis and Aho kind of going again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not blaming them for the way that they played in the first two games. They were fine, but it's the whole thing, right? Let's make the whole plan out of third line players, which is fine, but you do have one top line. I mean, right? You do,
and that's the other thing. That's the other thing too. It's and talking about it with Mike, and I agree with him. I mean, one of the features of the Canes is depth scoring. I'm not going to deny that, but the playoffs are made and broken by your top guys performing. And you can affect play. I get it. You can affect play without scoring. We talk about that all the time with Jordan Stahl, who was very, very annoyed that he had not scored. You could tell he was feeling it. He wanted to score. And a couple of times he saw some signs of frustration of not getting it past Markstrom. But you're going to need Svechnikov to get on the board, not in an empty net situation. You're going to need Aho. I get it. What Mike is saying. He got points, all that kind of stuff. But if we're talking about a deep playoff run, you're going to need more out of those guys. Let's go to the OG Sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Somebody texted the sports phone, and from a 336, Lenovo being packed at 6 p.m. shows you what this is, a hockey market. Yes, totally agree. Said that at the jump. It was good to see. From a 252, I'm not saying I needed that third goal, but I was sweating, Joes. Again, that's from a 252. You were.
Yeah, the puck line is your friend. I mean, I get it. You got more value on the puck line, but
what were you looking at when the Devils went up 1-0?
Oh, second period.
You went straight to the second period. You weren't happy with the odds, though, right?
No, I wasn't. I should have taken it pre-flop, but it is what it is at some point.
And from a 919, would you guys please consider turning the Canes After Darks into a podcast so I can listen the next morning on the way to work? I thought about, I'm not being facetious here. I did think about that because during the basketball run, we would turn the After Darks and I put them on a podcast, right? I just feel with the Canes, I want to stick it to YouTube. Stick with YouTube, because when we do the normal podcast like we will tomorrow morning, we'll have some additional thoughts and things like that. It's not like we're going to avoid the conversation. Let's just kind of keep this, I feel like the format when we do the After Darks for the Canes is a little bit different because we're inviting Mike on and we've got Luke on and we just want to catch in the immediacy. And obviously we want to goose those YouTube numbers, folks. That's what that's what it's about. We want to goose the YouTube. You got to play the algorithm game from time to time. So yeah, anyway, Luke DeCock is going to be up here in just a little bit. Looks like the scrum around Maniscalco or around.
We got some Freddie questions in there that are kind of interesting.
What were the Freddie questions? Because I don't see these right now. I don't have the Twitter in front of me. So what are the Freddie questions?
Not Twitter. It's on the comments, you knuckle brain.
Oh, on the comments. Oh, I thought you saw something on. I
don't know.
On the socials
from Garrett.
Oh, okay.
What's the minimum result in this postseason from Freddie to get re-signed if there's one that doesn't include the finals visit or of Eastern Conference Finals or Cup Finals?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're going to give Freddie the love you mean it either way.
Yeah.
Short of winning the cup, right?
What about Dundon would give you the indication that they don't feel they can find somebody suitable, younger and maybe even a little bit cheaper.
That's what it is. It's the age.
It's the age.
You know, like look on the ice. Steph Nason's 32.
Yeah.
They let him go because he's 32 and replaced his production with Roslovich, who's 28.
Yeah.
In the same number, you know. So I would say, I mean, now if you win it, you know, can you go full Belichick and say, well, I just won the cup with you, but I don't need you?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, depending on what kind of contract he wants to take.
Yeah. I mean, he's 35. He's obviously not the most durable guy in the history of the world.
And he knows that.
I know they've been trying to kind of turn this thing over to Kochetkov at varying points at varying levels. But no, I think they have a goalie reset, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
but I'm not registering in my brain what would they do if they win the cup. I mean, that's not where my brain is right now.
Well, it gets back to a recurring theme when we talk about the Hurricanes and Tulski and your cap space being used as an asset.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to base these opinions on the limited conversations we've had with Eric Tulski on the show. And the one thing that'll continue to stick out to me is the one we had after the Mikko Rantanen trade, and that he said, show me the Vezina Trophy winner that goes off to win the Stanley Cup. You need above average goaltending. That's all you need, ultimately, the way they view it. I don't disagree with that. You know, if you wanted to play the hypothetical out with Freddie Andersen, let's say they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is where I've kind of readjusted what I think this team can do, get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they lose in a competitive way. I can see them having a conversation with Freddie with a hometown discount. You're not the guy anymore. It's Kochetkov that could be moved. And they go out and find somebody else.
Kochetkov is under contract for the next few years. Kochetkov's got 2 more years.
He's got,
but it's only at $2 million.
It's right. You got to remember when they did the Kochetkov deal, I thought it was ideally team friendly in that if he ends up being the guy, you've got a goalie at a bargain basement rate. If it doesn't, it's not a deal that you can't move.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you know, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, you know, we kind of talked about this with Luke on Sunday regarding Andrei Svechnikov. You know, this is kind of the way I would view it, a little bit of a referendum postseason for Svechnikov. You know, if he's healthy, is he the guy? The money that he's making, he's only going to want, you know, the cap's going to go up. He's going to want more money. He's going to want all these things. What do you do with that? So I think Kochetkov was a smart play in how they signed him. And look, ultimately, it's up to you if you want to. It's up to you, Kochetkov, to take the reins of this. It's not like he hasn't been given opportunities to do it. It just hasn't necessarily happened. From Daniel, kind of based on what we're talking about. Nitpick time. Do we need more out of the top line? I thought they played good, but we need more than good. Too many extra passes. Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer, now sitting down with us here at Lenovo Center. We'll actually start with that, Luke. Look, good win. Dominant second period, great goaltending from Freddie Andersen. We talked about it with Maniscalco that it's a feature. Depth scoring is a thing for the Canes. I get all that stuff, but playoffs are made by the top guys. Yeah. Thoughts on the top guys today?
I mean, they created a goal.
Yep.
So, you know, just because they didn't score, I mean, there was Aho and Jarvis with the assist on.
I think it was Jarvis.
Yeah. That, you know, no one created a goal, big goal. No, I mean, look. It doesn't matter how you win, right? Like if they lost these 2 games, yeah, we're going to be worried about the top line, and the KK line's been dominant but hasn't scored, and the power play. It's like, you know, you've outplayed the Devils in every facet, literally every facet: forward play, defensive play, offense, defense, special teams, penalty kill, power play, goaltending, physicality. We're good. We're good. Let's let them save it, right? It's Jordan Martinook against the Devils. I don't know why you can't build the whole plane out of Jordan Martinook against the Devils. So the other guys can take a break and pick it up after the series is over. I think they've been fine. I don't think they've been great. I think they've been fine. They've been maybe the second or third best line, but you know, if you don't need them, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, like if we were having this conversation 7 minutes into the first period, it might be different.
Oh, that was kind of predictable, though, the way things.
Yeah.
I mean, the building was full. Great crowd. Not a great start for the Canes, but as I said earlier, the way they closed out the first period carried into the second period, and that was a wrap.
Yeah, it's the Devils were going to have more. I mean, they were challenged by their coach. They were going to have some push. And the Hurricanes, like, they won game 1 pretty, what was it, 45-24 or whatever it ended up being. It's hard to come back out the next day and be like, okay, let's do that again, right?
Yeah.
They're humans. Everybody's human. But it's a 60-minute game, and over the 60 minutes, they're clearly the better team. Freddie Andersen looked really good, continues to look really good. And we had a lot of, it was a press conference tonight. We had a lot of questions about Freddie's blood clots, and it's like, that's not even his most recent injury.
Well, wait
he had knee surgery in November. That's the issue.
We're talking.
He was asked about the blood clots, and it's like, I can't. We had questions about, literally, a question was how important are special teams. We had how important are block shots, and we had how important our road games. And it's like, come on, man, this team's been here 25 years. It can't be amateur hour like this.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, whatever. It's fine.
It's fine. It's
Coach, can you speak to the
Coach,
defense?
can you speak to the defense? This is not SEC football. We will not be speaking to the defense. The first question in every single SEC football press conference ever. Coach, can you speak to the defense?
Who was it that broke the wishbone?
It was our guy Eddie.
Eddie
Allegra.
Butch, you broke the wishbone. Butch, you broke it.
I mean, you practically invented putting fast players on.
All right. So speaking
back
of
to hockey.
So, but one thing that remains true when we talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and the postseason is, what do you do with the goalies? And specific to Freddie Andersen, I think we were all in agreement on Sunday that maybe throw Kochetkov out there, see what you got in game 2, right? Keep the rotation going. They didn't do it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Here's the thing.
And Freddie paid off. So now with the Friday Sunday situation, it seems to me like the most practical thing to do is put Freddie back out there after a couple of days of rest with the extra day. And then the early Sunday game, you put Kochetkov out there and a potential closeout situation.
Yeah, you can. Here's the thing about Freddie that I think people are missing. Number one, everyone keeps talking about consecutive starts. It's actually his 3rd straight start. He played the 82nd game in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Now, there's a little gap in there, but not a huge gap.
Sure.
So that's one. 2 is the word on Freddie was that this latest knee surgery took care, finally, of the chronic issue that was causing the real durability issues in the playoffs going back to 2022, right? 2020 was the Rangers series he didn't play in. Is that right? Was that Ranta and then Kochetkov? I think that's correct.
I think that's right. I have to go back and double. Our listeners might actually fact check us. They've already fact checked a couple times.
No, that's it. Because I remember being at the Garden when he was out there on the ice by himself with Paul Schofield.
Okay.
So the theory is you should be able to, and also he's played 21 games all year.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's never been this fresh in April.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the Freddie durability issue that we've seen the last couple of years. To me, I'm not seeing it. I think now maybe you do want to get Kochetkov in there, especially if you maybe you lose game 3, you throw him in for game 4 on the short turnaround, or maybe you do put him in to close out the series in game 4 if you win game 3. But I don't think it's this ticking time bomb Freddie situation that we've been dealing with the last couple of years. I think this is a fresher, rested, potentially more durable Freddie Andersen. And to be honest, I don't remember him looking this good in back-to-back playoff games in his entire tenure. Now, he's obviously played great games in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
These were 2 very good games, especially in the 3rd period of both games, when you would expect him to maybe start wearing down. So I'm not prepared to start pushing the Frederik Andersen. I'm not going to call it the panic button, Frederik Andersen narrative button yet. I'm willing to kind of let this play out and see where it goes, because I think we may be dealing with a different breed of cat here.
And I guess that's what I'm getting at. I mean, we have enough data. We saw this last year. You wonder, you go back to what worked, what didn't work last year. Would you change it up? You got this opportunity again. How do you handle it? If he is as healthy as you say that he is, or that's what they feel it is, then yeah, man, I'll change my opinion on it.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
But we'll see.
Let it ride.
We'll see. If he doesn't look good in Newark on Friday, then maybe it is a smart move to go to Kochetkov. And, if you're a team, and the history obviously is the rotation. If you're a team that thinks you may have to rotate, you do want to get the other guy in when it's not an elimination game or something, which is a situation they put themselves in before.
Anything else before we wrap it up, Joe?
Well, I do think Freddie was really good against the Panthers. He just didn't win.
Yeah, no, there were other issues in that series. Yeah,
right. And then last year, they got themselves in a situation last year where he was very good against the Islanders, and they convinced themselves, maybe to your point about the knee, oh, he's healthy enough, he can do this, we're going to keep going with him. And then obviously he ran into some issues against the Rangers, who were a better team. That's the only thing. The test goes up from here. So I'm okay with telling Kochetkov to have a seat. I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with it last year, to be perfectly honest with you. I think.
I was of the opposite. I thought Kachekov should have played more, and you were kind of saving Freddie for like potential game 7.
Yeah,
but that's
that maybe that's a round 2 issue that
maybe
you
it
get
is.
to.
And again, I think we're going to have to get there to find out, because I do think you can make the argument, which will be proven right or wrong, that the sort of landscape we're used to with him has changed. And maybe it hasn't. Maybe we'll get there and find out it hasn't. But
Luke DeCott, columnist, News and Observer. All right, man. Appreciate the time as always. Hopefully we're not back here on a Tuesday night next week.
On a Tuesday?
I mean, it went up on a Tuesday today.
6 p.m.
Let's not do that again.
And Bill Belichick and his social media manager were here.
So, all right. One last thing.
So you need a graphic to sweep across the screen.
I lied.
One last
thing
with a
actually.
bartender shoving someone out of a bar.
What I need to find out is whether or not
Grandpa Simpson.
I'm back. I want to know. We're pretty sure that Bill was Joe's sources that Bill was offered the siren. Folks, siren jokes aside, we already know he has a siren. We get it. Heard that joke plenty. However, do you think that she would? No, Joe.
This is what you prolonged the show for.
Yes. Do you think that Jordan would have done the siren if she was asked? Because the content would have been off the charts. She's the content queen.
It would have gotten 1 million likes.
She would have turned that. She would have turned that into Instagram reel like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
It's just
Michael Jordan. I believe I would have heard about that if Michael Jordan were here.
No. The real Jordan. The real Jordan.
The Jordan brand.
The real Jordan.
The real Jordan brand.
Man, look, you can't tell Bill anything right now. That man's living his best life. He was eating ice cream. He's got his girl with him.
Sharing ice cream.
He's got his girl with him. He's getting booed. He's like, bring it. I don't care, man.
I want to throw this one back to you from playoffs past. 2 spoons, 1 cup.
Oh, that joke never gets old. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap it up. We will see you on the main pod tomorrow.